I am back in the Coliseum in Las Vegas to watch the compulsory maneuvers for the top 10 of the Mustang Challenge. This is my favorite part of the competition, even though people find it a little bit on the boring side.
Tonight is a special night in the Western horse industry. Of course, anytime you get a chance to pay out $50,000 to a champion, it is going to be...
With $50,000 on the line for the winner, this is a pretty important class to get right. There will be 11 horses showing this morning, and I am going to give you guys a peek of all of them. There are 8 maneuvers that each contestant needs to complete in a designated period of time. The pattern does look very similar to the reining pattern that they did yesterday. All of the competitors are starting with a clean slate, so everybody has a fair shot at the grand prize. Up first, we have a 3-year-old gelding from Diamond, Nevada. This horse is super flashy. He was one of my favorites from yesterday. Just so you guys understand what the pattern looks like, I will break it down on this first run for you. After loping down the center line, horses will stop and roll back either direction. They will continue to lope back past the center marker where they'll stop again and continue to back up. After that, they will perform 2 1/4 spins to the right, shortly followed by a side pass to the right as well. Next, they will do 2 spins to the left. This will shortly be followed by a side pass to the left as well. At this point, the horses should be pretty close to the center line of the arena. When they are done with their side pass, they are going to pick up a right lead lope. This little horse did pick up the wrong lead for a few strides, but it was quickly fixed. They will then proceed to do 2 circles around the arena, the first one large and fast, and the second one smaller and slow. After doing their small, slow circles, riders will cue their horses back to the center of the arena. When they cross the center line, they will execute a lead change. Now on the left lead, all of the horses will perform another set of circles, the first one being large and fast and the second one being small and slow. After completing the small, slow circle, it looks like the riders need to go back to the center of the arena and then the pattern is finished. There isn't really a clear way they want the pattern complete, but it seems like you can just kind of piddle off and leave the arena. The first horse had a few little bobbles, but overall she did really well.
Thank you. It's a small taste of what's going to happen a little bit later. This thing we got 11 of these to watch.
If you guys watch my video from yesterday, this was my favorite horse of the day. She is a 7-year-old mare from Fish Creek, Nevada. Each horse is going to perform all of these maneuvers a little bit differently. Obviously, this horse has a little bit more reining training than some of the other ones. Somebody did ask me in the last video why these horses are able to slide on their hind feet, and they do have special shoes for that. So far, this pair is doing really, really well. They haven't made any big mistakes yet. Even though this horse is just plain brown, she is really easy to look at. She lopes off beautifully to start the large, fast circles. They are going to come around, and I bet this lead change is going to be beautiful. Just like the first horse, they did have a little bobble on the lead change as they drug a lead for a few strides, but overall that was a really good run for these two.
He is a contestant in the top 10 Mustang makeover competition, as well as traveling clinician, primarily focused on liberty and trick riding training.
You guys should be able to see a big difference between the last horse and this one. These two horses are going to perform the same maneuvers but slightly different. This pattern does not call for a sliding stop, just simply a stop, and technically you don't need to spin, you can do a pivot. I think a lot of the trainers focus on getting everything slower and correct before they start adding a bunch of speed to it. This whole class is worth 40 points, so the freestyle later on this evening does have a larger weight on the final score. This horse is super cute and it does have a ton of chrome. This little mare is 4 years old and is coming out of an HMA from California called Massacre Lakes. This little horse did have a bit of a bobble when she went to pick up her right lead. It's actually a little bit tricky with the in-gate being on the left side. The horses are definitely more drawn to that side of the arena after being here for a couple days showing. This pair had a really nice simple lead change. I think this pair might be taking a more conservative route and saving all the razzle dazzle for later on tonight. It does look like the mare is a little bit on the tired side.
Well, thank you, thank you. So we will continue the quest. Head on down to beach country of Georgia. Garrett Egan hails from a small town in the Appalachian Mountains.
This super cute gelding is from Adobe Town, Wyoming. I really liked the looks of this guy yesterday while they were doing the preliminary classes. I am a really big fan of pretty much all of the HMAs in Wyoming. The very first Mustang I ever rode looked a lot like this guy. All of these horses are able to execute the side passes both directions pretty handily. For the amount of training time that these horses have had on them, this is pretty impressive. For a domestic horse, it would not really be a big deal, but you have to remember that these horses were completely wild when the trainers first picked them up. I think I remember from yesterday that this horse did have a really nice lead change. He had a tiny little hiccup, but overall that was a pretty good change. It is around 10 o'clock this morning and the finals isn't until 6 p.m. tonight, so these horses will get the whole entire day to rest and recharge. Besides a tiny little bobble on the lead change, that run was really nice.
Thank you, thank you. Gavin travels the country sharing his expertise, teaching clinics and lessons and thrilling audiences at shows and rodeos all over.
This 5-year-old mare from Sand Springs, Oregon found herself near the top of a lot of the preliminary classes. Out of all of the Mustangs I've trained, I think my favorite was a mare from Sand Springs, Oregon. She looked a lot like this horse, but she was buckskin, so a little bit more flashy. I'm really glad I don't have to judge this class because I think it's going to be very close points-wise. I think for these events, the compulsory maneuvers are all pretty much the same across the board, but it would have been nice if they could do a pattern that was a little bit different. Besides the side passing, it is pretty much the same as the reining pattern from yesterday. If I remember correctly, this horse does have a really pretty lead change. She also had a little bit of a snafu getting through that. I'm not really sure how this is being scored, but I'm guessing there's a maneuver score and the possibility for penalties. Overall, this pair also had a really good run.
Extreme Mustang makeover. Since then, she has consistently demonstrated her skills in multiple makeovers.
This 5-year-old mare from South Steens was really flashy. I didn't get to see this horse show very much during the preliminaries, but I did catch a glimpse of her yesterday. She definitely has that cow horse look about her. She is a little bit more bridled up than some of the other horses. It is really interesting to see the variety of trainers because some of them have definitely got more experience in different disciplines. This mare did have a little bit of trouble picking up the right lead, but they eventually got it straightened out. This little mare definitely redeemed herself with the prettiest lead change that I've seen all day. With the in-gate being on the left, that does make the right to left change a tiny bit easier for these horses. Because I didn't get to see too much of this horse yesterday, I am super excited to see what she does for the finals.
Literally do it all. However, the most fulfilling endeavor has been training Mustangs, which has brought him immense.
This is a mare from Antelope Valley, Nevada. My very first makeover, I did train a gelding from the same HMA. This mare is super cute. If I didn't see her brand, I don't think I would be able to tell the difference between her and a little cow pony. I feel like I would have remembered this horse had I seen them show yesterday, and I don't think that I did. With 60 horses in the preliminaries, naturally I did miss a few. This mare probably had the best turnarounds that I've seen so far. She very easily picked up the correct lead and got to cruising around in her large fast circle. This mare's run was going really good until she got to the lead change. She did drag a lead for a few strides, so she changed in the front but not in the back. It seems like there are quite a few people having little problems with the lead change today, so I'm not sure that's going to hurt their score too terribly much. The rest of their maneuvers were really nice. This little girl looks like she does have some extra steam in her tank, so I'm excited to see her perform later on this evening.
First of its kind at Kentucky Horse Park in Lexington, Kentucky, September 13th through the 15th of this year, of course.
This same nonprofit is hosting another very similar horse show in Kentucky in September. I'm going to link all the information for that show in the description in case any of you guys want to check it out if you're on the East Coast. This 4-year-old mare from Twin Peaks, California also looked like a little quarter horse. In my experience, some Mustangs do take a rather long time to mature, so the amount of muscle on this horse is pretty impressive. I would love to see this horse turned out for dressage or show jumping. I'm going to have to check the list and see if this is the one that's going to be showing in Kentucky. This horse has a really good foundation that would cross over to other events, so I hope I get to see her again. She handily departed onto that right lead, did her large fast circle and small slow. Although a flying lead change probably gets more maneuver points, performing a nice, clean, simple lead change probably benefits some of these trainers in the long run. And that was a pretty good decision by this pair to keep it nice and simple and clean.
Mustang Challenge highlights the versatility of training in his home state of Idaho. His passion for horsemanship and cattle work is his family affair.
This was one of my favorites from yesterday. I love this little horse. He is just a 3-year-old from Black Mountain, Idaho. This horse just looks like a super chill guy. I'm sure he's tired as well. I was really hoping to see this pair in Kentucky, but it doesn't look like they're on the exhibitor list. I'm guessing that it's probably close to 2,000 miles to haul this horse from Idaho to Kentucky, so that is a rather long trip for a young horse. It is also a pretty busy time of year if you're actually working on a ranch. I'm just guessing, by the way, this horse has turned out that he has done quite a bit of real work throughout his domestication process. Even though this horse is a little on the homely side, he does have a very pretty lead change. So far today, all of the horses really looked like they're showing well. Most of them have traveled quite a distance to be here, and it's been a long couple of days for them, I'm sure.
Thank you. This is his second horse. The one you met earlier was hip number 22.
This trainer did qualify 2 horses for the finals, which is really impressive. This show allows trainers to show 2 horses if they wish. This 7-year-old mare isn't as fancy looking as the other horse, but she still is pretty darn broke. Typically, a lot of makeovers only have either all mares or all geldings, and for this one, trainers were allowed to pick whatever they wanted. It was really interesting to see so many mares at this event. I have found from my experience that wild mares are a little bit different than domestic ones. They often have a lot more responsibility in the herd, and I think that just makes for a more mature horse overall. This is something that I can definitely see between Scarlet, my reservation horse, and Prim, who is a domestic bred quarter horse. It could be that the independent nature of a lot of these Mustang mares makes them better competitors. This little mare certainly had a pretty nice run.
Thank you. Of this year's festivities. Sam shares a passion with her husband Luke and their young son Rowdy.
I didn't get a chance to see this super flashy 5-year-old gelding yesterday. He is from the Divide Basin, Wyoming herd management area, and like I said before, I just love these Wyoming Mustangs. If you guys watch my channel, you know I had my eyeballs on a cute little meatball of a horse in one of the auctions I attended this summer. I have been checking the internet adoption for him, but he wasn't on there, so there's a good chance he did get adopted. I haven't heard if they're going to do this event again next year. With all of the house hunting we've been doing, it would be very difficult for me to make the time to properly train one of these horses. It's something that I'm definitely thinking about, but right now it just doesn't seem feasible. That little horse had a super nice run.
And I believe that is our final competitor.
I am going to head back to my room to do a little bit of work and then meet you guys back here later on this evening for the finals. Thank you guys so much for watching, and stay tuned for the next video.